Hi, and welcome to this new timeless reading. And this is take two because TikTok felt like erasing my previous draft for no reason. So we're gonna use the same cards, and I'll repeat the message because it felt very meaningful. So I'm guessing it's like the type of interferences that actually are talked about in that reading. So let's go. And three cards. The first one is the details on the new frequency that's available for integration. The second one is what can be released, and the third one is advice. So the frequency is the strength, and what I got is a shield and a force field. And it's not only on an individual level. I'm seeing it as a almost like a dome that protects people that are at the forefront of those energies. So as you integrate and activate and physicalize the expression of that energy, there's at times going to be interferences that will come your way for sure. And as we are still in that buffer zone after all the solar flares, geomagnetic activity, and all those types of things that have been going on extremely intensely in the past months and week even specifically, we're kind of like in a zone where we're adjusting to the new frequency we're going to hold more permanently. So in the meantime, as this keeps going on around you and on Earth, if you will, we're being given a space, some type of a buffer zone that actually makes us out of reach of interferences to a large extent. And this, like when I say it's a buffer, to kind of like activate it into a shield, you need to like select the frequency you want to be on. So what I'm getting is that you might get a lot of doubts and attempts at dysregulation in your environment, and a lot of intrusive thoughts and things like that. And when these things come your way, the better you get at pushing it aside, saying no to it, not engaging with the energy, the more you activate the shield. So yeah, and it's almost as if I'm doing it as we're speaking, pretty much. So here we go. And now what can be released, and it's the Knight of Pentacles, and this is to remain confident and trusting in our direction. And how to know what your direction is, it's something that you feel like deep in your core, in your gut, and it actually clears your mind space, if you will, your kind of like energetic sphere, when you're like, I want this, or I'm going there, or I am moving in that direction for my highest good. For example, whatever your current situation is, let's say you've been applying for jobs, and then intrusive thoughts start, like your resume is not good enough, or this place won't call you back, or this and that, and all those things, or you don't have connections, or whatever it is, to get into the place you want to get to. Those would be intrusive thoughts. They kind of pull you out of the trust you need to embody, and the kind of like more peaceful state you need to be at to be in a receiving mode, if you will. And it's very important not to engage with them as much as possible. And a good thing to do would be first to acknowledge them, kind of like on a radio station, when you're in between radio stations to get to the one you want to listen to, you might get little blips of the others in between. So treat it as that, because you're like, yeah, but I'm landing a new position, or I'm improving my life in this and that way, or I'm going in that direction. So anything in between is just noise, pretty much, And there's the time to kind of like purge and face your fears and all those things, but the people I'm speaking to, we kind of like done most of it, and we're actually aligned to step actively and physically into our highest timeline. So this is pretty much at this point just interferences and noise, and whatever these things are saying at this point um, can be deactivated, if you will. So if they're like, oh, you're not gonna get the job, they'll never call you back, you'd be like, and what about if it does happen? And what about if they really, I felt I felt an interest to go towards them because they're looking for something like me. Or what about if I feel like looking for something, it's because it's calling me. So there's a magnetization and a resonance that begins, you know, and you kind of like can focus on something like that energetically much more than the noise that's trying to take you out of that space. So you're kind of like rebuilding how your psyche goes through those types of thoughts, and at some point they'll just like naturally fall away. When the shield is more activated, they'll just kind of like kind of like bump onto it like mosquitoes on a window or something. So yeah, it's just a matter of time before these things are really not a prevalent aspect of your reality anymore. And now, what is the advice? And we have the tower, and in the tower is a really big shift in perception about yourself. So you're finally, as you go through all of this, finally going to be able to see yourself much more clearly, and all the parts where there's been interferences are aspects that were hidden from you, that the world was kind of like pulling at, so you can't see how capable and powerful you actually are, or how strong, or how interesting, or how much good you can bring in your environments, or how ambitious you really are. And yeah, as you kind of like stabilize your field, deal with those interferences and activate the shield, what you gain from it is a deep and very clear perception of who you are. And I'm hearing it's been almost a lifetime without seeing who you were. I'm hearing maybe in childhood is the last time you felt that integrated and sparkly. So yeah, that's it, and I hope this resonated.